Alright, after a long procrastination against making my next countdown, I've actually decided on one. Top 5 Sonic Super Forms. And I actually had a lot of fun making this. Keep in mind, these have to be official super forms, so I'm not going to put Hyper Shattuck or Dark Super Shadow on here. And also keep in mind, I'm not counting anything that's not a super form. So, no Werehog. And as much of a disappointment as it'll be to some people watching this, I'm only counting super forms as Sonic, so no Shadow, Silver, or anyone else. And now, let's get this done. This first one is right up there with Gygus as one of the most disturbing things in a child-friendly series. Whoa, dude, that's a bit of a title right there. Yeah, I guess you're right, but just watch this footage.
I'm eager to see if they're powerful enough to defeat you!
Alright then, let's test them out! Looks like you'll have to go back to the drawing board.
For a kid's show, that was pretty dark. Seriously, you can barely see anything at all. Because of this, people interpreted him as Dark Super Sonic. And coming from a station called 4Kids, you'd think he'd look a little bit more child-friendly, don't you think? Basically, the King of the Metarex captures and tortures Cosmo and Chris with the intention of luring Sonic in. Why? He's created 2 handy-dandy new robots to try and defeat him. What he didn't anticipate is Sonic transforming into the form of Dark Super Sonic. How did he obtain enough energy to do this? Well, very simple. They were in a Chaos Emerald factory. And then Eggman tells Sonic to settle down.
Settle down, Sonic!
And then he says something that would be forever obnoxious!
I don't like the way you attacked Chris and Cosmo. It's one thing to take them prisoner and threaten them, but when you actually hurt somebody, that's going too far.
Let me just play something from the first season here. Nice, right? And his robotic prick posse backs him up.
You said it, Doctor! Even we have some principles.
Fuck this shit!
There are 3 reasons he's so low on the list. First of all, he was only ever in Sonic X, and only 1 episode. Second of all, it was too late to bring this show out of the dumps. This is only 1 opportunity, but they should have brought this in a lot earlier. And third of all, we never hear from him again! But at least Chakra X put him in Nozzle Unleashed.
What's this?
Let me your power!
I just gotta do what I've gotta do! That's all!
Coming from such a gold lover as me, you might be wondering why Excalibur Sonic is so low on the list. I mean, he's clad entirely in golden armor. Well, to be honest, I found him not as interesting as the other super forms ahead. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's really cool, and he looks amazing. But, I just found the other ones cooler than he is. Coming from the already improved Secret Rings formula in the Black Knight, the boss battle with Excalibur Sonic as the character you play as was amazing. It was addicting. I was always trying to get the gold medal. It was so entertaining. I mean, I just loved playing it. It improved my experience thoroughly. I will say that. And I found it really cool that they made the formula for transforming into Excalibur Sonic the 4 Sacred Swords, rather than the 7, you name it. And all the while, the music in the background makes it feel more epic, more cinematic, more cool. But wait a minute, if there's nothing Excalibur can't cut through, why didn't they just take it and stab her in the first place?
Let me your power!
I don't care how many people think he's a Super Saiyan ripoff, this guy is still awesome. Why? Well, I'm supposed to be explaining this, so why don't we divulge into it? There actually is a pretty good backstory to Super Sonic, which does take away some of his unoriginality. I mean, seriously, just because it was only in the UK Sonic the Hedgehog comic books, does that really make it any less important?
What do you know?
Shut up, you annoying pain in my... Anyway, Super Sonic isn't always the positive, powerful entity you think him to be. In fact, there is one version that feeds purely off of chaos. Ah! Sorry, I got a bit frightened. Let's get on with this. But seriously, could that guy get any more scared? Oh, come on! Are you trying to give me brain trauma here? Seriously, I know Super Saiyans lose control when they get higher leveled. But are you serious? This guy is evil, pure evil. His only goal to destroy and get revenge. Hell, at one point in the story, he ripped off Commander Brutus's arm and nearly killed Amy. I mean, come on, that's just freaking brutal.
Let me your power! You actually thought you could defeat me by transforming into a monster?
Hypersonic, the Genesis equivalent of Sonic the Hedgehog God. Yes, Sonic the Hedgehog actually at one point had a form more powerful than any other super form. Except they stopped using it because people got seizures. I can't comprehend this. If you're prone to seizures, why are you playing a fast-paced game? But honestly, this guy actually had a rather interesting concept. Instead of the Chaos Emeralds, Hypersonic transforms using the Super Emeralds, which are supposed to be more powerful. Again, at least he was in Naza Unleashed. And I would just like to clear something up with Hyper Shadow fanboys. He doesn't exist! Okay. They dropped Hyper forms in the 90s. Shadow didn't come out as a character until the early 2000s. Therefore, the argument that Hyper Shadow exists is invalid. Plus the fact that it's not Hyper Shadow, it's Super Shadow. When are you people going to learn? Hypersonic also had a double jump or homing attack type move where basically he would jump a second time and a white flash would appear on the screen. All enemies in screen that were not being defended at that point will be eliminated. Hypersonic constantly flashes with tons of huge white sparkles and flashes with every color of the rainbow you can imagine. Pink, purple, neon green, name it. You know, with all this excess power, it's a wonder he doesn't burn more rings. I don't think a top 5 calls for a recap, so let's just jump into this. Let's face it, the second you saw Hypersonic, you knew this guy was going to be number 1. Now before you call the mental hospital and tell them they need a new patient, just hear me out on why I like this guy over the other ones. First of all, this is the darkest Sonic has ever gotten in terms of forms. Seriously, this guy has no eyes and is like a Dark Super Sonic rendering, only we know more about him. Second, this guy complemented a terrible game with an actually rather fun boss battle. Oh yeah, I know it's too basic. You know what? I don't care. I still think it's fun. Some people hate the music. I respond to them with the Crush 40 remix was awesome, so why? Hell, I'm playing it in the background right now. And while this game itself wasn't that good, the story was amazing, especially near the end. Except for the terrible ending. Basically, Sonic and Char enter the temple of the Eraser Djinn using the 7 world rings to open the door. In an attempt to defeat him, but it turns into something else. The Eraser Djinn reveals that Chara and Sonic were both pawns in an attempt to gather all 7 world rings. Why? He wants to rewrite the world in his own image.
Of course!
No! Enough is enough! I'm sick of this mother joke and these mother countdowns! Anyway, when Char tries to go with the Eraser Djinn to rule the war together, Sonic commands her to do what she truly thinks is right, which breaks her mental state. As it turns out, to activate the power of the rings, the Djinn needed a sacrifice. Sonic was supposed to be that sacrifice. So, he tries to kill him. What a jerk. But then, Chara blocks the blade for Sonic, taking her life. At this time, Chara exchanges her last words, and Sonic in vain wishes for her to not die. But she's not powerful enough to grant the wish. Because of this, the ring on Sonic's finger breaks. And the Eraser Djinn proceeds to insult her, and then use the ring to transform into some monster that fires its puke laser constantly. Sonic stares in horror at the monstrosity that is Alfuela wa Lela. He then realizes that he's gonna have to stop him somehow. He uses the power of the 7 world rings: prayers, sadness, rage, hatred, joy, pleasure, and wishes, to transform into the form of Darkspine Sonic. Knowing he might not be strong enough, he asks Shara's spirit to lend him as much power as she can in his fight against the Eraser Djinn once more. The reason this form is number 1 is because the epic cutscenes leading up to it are just awesome to watch. And the villain and battle aren't bad either, so it just makes the form even cooler. I'm the Platform Gamer, and I think Darkspine Sonic is the best Sonic super form ever made.
You're just some incomplete monster!